You're not fooling anyone, so let's cut the crap. If you're watching this, chances are you've spent way too much of your life worrying about what people think, seeking approval from every Tom, Dick, and Karen. But let me ask you something. What exactly are you gaining by constantly bending yourself out of shape for people who don't give a damn about you? You keep trying to fit into their mold, but all you're doing is losing yourself in the process. Here's the harsh truth. Nobody's out here obsessing over your every move like you think they are. They're too busy worrying about their own insecurities to even notice yours. So why do you keep letting the judgment of others dictate how you live your life? Are you really going to let someone else's projection of their own fears and failures control your next move? I don't care if it's your boss, your friends, or even some random stranger on the street. You can't spend your whole life tiptoeing around the opinions of others. It's a game you're never going to win, and it's one you need to quit before it eats you alive. So here's the million-dollar question. When will you finally stop seeking validation from the world and start living for yourself? Because I can promise you, as long as you keep playing this game, you're never going to feel truly free. The real question is, how much longer are you willing to keep lying to yourself, pretending that someone else's approval is more important than your own peace of mind? Get ready, because this is about to get uncomfortable. But trust me, it's exactly what you need. Let's dive in. Welcome to Self-Mastery Labs. Let's get started. Chapter 1. Why do you care so much about what other people think? Why do you care so much about what other people think? Seriously, what's the deal? Are you secretly auditioning for the Approval Olympics? Spoiler alert, there's no medal for most likely to be liked by everyone. It's not your fault. Your brain is wired this way, but you're the one keeping this nonsense alive. You're letting some caveman-era survival instinct dictate your self-worth in 2025. Newsflash. The tribe isn't going to exile you, and no saber-toothed tiger is lurking around the corner to eat you if Becky doesn't approve of your life choices. So why are you living like rejection equals death? Here's the truth. Humans evolved to care about social acceptance because back in the day, it mattered. If you didn't fit in with the group, you were left to fend for yourself. No shelter, no food, no protection. In that world, caring what others thought wasn't just important, it was life or death. But guess what? It's not the Ice Age anymore. You're not fighting for survival in a world where someone's side-eye could mean starvation. Yet, here you are, acting like Karen's opinion about your career choices carries the same weight as an actual life or death scenario. Let me ask you this. Are you afraid Karen's gossip will take away your ability to pay rent? Is Todd's snarky comment at the gym going to stop the earth from spinning? No. Then why are you giving their thoughts so much power over your life? Seriously, sit with that for a second. You're voluntarily handing over the keys to your happiness and letting someone else drive. Someone who's probably too busy worrying about their own insecurities to give you more than a passing thought. Do you know what's worse than caring what others think? Pretending you don't while constantly adjusting yourself to fit their expectations. Yeah, I see you, performing this little tap dance of perfection to win approval from people who wouldn't notice if you disappeared tomorrow. You tell yourself you're just being considerate or keeping the peace. No, you're not. You're selling yourself out because you're too scared to admit the truth. Their opinion doesn't matter, but you've convinced yourself it does. Stop lying to yourself. Here's the kicker. Most of the people you're so worried about impressing aren't even paying attention to you. They're too wrapped up in their own fears, insecurities, and drama to notice your every move. And even if they do notice, so what? If someone's judging you, that says more about them than it does about you. Their criticism is nothing but a reflection of their own limitations, their own frustrations, and their own inability to handle their own crap. Yet here you are, making their opinion gospel truth. Pathetic, isn't it? Let's get real. This need for validation, it's not cute, it's exhausting. You're running yourself ragged trying to meet the impossible standards of people who don't matter. You're editing your personality, your dreams, your entire existence just to avoid imaginary judgment. But let's be honest, has this strategy ever worked? No matter how much you change yourself, someone will always have something to say, and that's because people love to criticize. It makes them feel better about their own boring, mediocre lives, so go ahead, keep playing the game. But don't come crying when you realize you've wasted your life chasing approval that was never yours to begin with. Oh, and let's talk about this little thing called the spotlight effect. You think everyone's watching you, don't you? Hanging onto your every word, dissecting your every move. Newsflash, they're not. The world doesn't revolve around you. Most people are too busy worrying about their own embarrassing moments to give yours more than a second of thought. So you tripped in public? Guess what? They'll forget about it before you finish this sentence. You're not the main character in their lives. Now, let's address the real reason you care so much. You don't trust yourself. That's the root of it, isn't it? You don't believe your choices are good enough unless someone else validates them. You've outsourced your self-worth to other people, like it's some kind of group project. But here's the thing, it's not their job to approve of your life, it's yours. Trusting your own judgment might feel scary at first, but it's the only way to break free from this exhausting cycle of people-pleasing. Here's a little challenge for you. The next time you catch yourself worrying about what someone thinks, stop and ask, does their opinion pay my bills? Does it make me happy? Does it improve my life in any tangible way? If the answer is no, and it will be, then why are you giving it so much power? Why are you bending over backward to please people who wouldn't cross the street to do the same for you? Let me leave you with this. Caring about what others think is a choice, and every time you choose it, you're choosing to live a smaller, less authentic version of your life. You're choosing fear over freedom. You're choosing to let outdated survival instincts run the show in a world where they no longer apply. So stop playing small. Stop living for everyone else. Stop giving a damn about people who don't deserve a front row seat in your life. It's time to wake up and realize that the only opinion that truly matters is your own. Own it, live it, and for the love of all that is good, stop caring what Karen from accounting thinks. She's too busy judging herself to even notice you. Chapter 2. Why are you letting other people's insecurities define you? Let's get straight to it. Why the hell are you letting other people's insecurities dictate how you live your life? Are you seriously sitting there second-guessing your choices because someone else can't handle their own baggage? Let me spell it out for you. Their judgments aren't about you, they're about them. That person who rolled their eyes at your career move, they're stuck in a dead-end job, and seeing you chase your dreams makes them uncomfortable. That friend who made a passive-aggressive comment about your relationship, they're lonely, bitter, and projecting their own failures onto you. And here you are, letting their insecurities mess with your confidence. It's pathetic. Here's the truth you don't want to hear. People love to criticize because it's easier than fixing their own lives. Think about it. It's a lot simpler to point fingers at your decisions than to look in the mirror and deal with their own shortcomings. They pick apart your outfit, your goals, your lifestyle, not because there's anything wrong with them, but because deep down, they're too scared to face their own flaws. And you're internalizing their garbage like it's gospel truth. Wake up! Why are you treating their projections like a roadmap for your life? When someone judges you, it has nothing to do with you. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Nothing. It's not about your choices, your worth, or your potential. It's about their fears, their failures, their unspoken regrets. But instead of seeing their criticisms for what they are, a mirror reflecting their own crap, you let it sink into your skin. You carry it around like some toxic souvenir, letting it shape how you see yourself. That's not just sad, it's self-sabotage. And let's be real, the people whose opinions you're obsessing over, half of them don't even matter. They're not paying your bills, living your life, or walking in your shoes. Yet you're letting their fears become the limit on your ambition. Why? Are you that desperate for validation? Are you that afraid to stand on your own 2 feet and say, I don't care what you think? Because if you are, let me tell you right now, you're giving away your power. And for what? To appease people who are too scared to live boldly themselves? Let me guess. You're telling yourself, but what if they're right? Right about what? That you're making a mistake? That you don't have what it takes? Let me clue you in on something. Even if you fail, at least you had the guts to try. The people criticizing you, they'll never know that kind of courage. They're too busy playing it safe, sitting on the sidelines, and criticizing anyone who dares to step into the arena. So no, they're not right. They're cowards, and you're letting cowards shape your destiny. How does that feel? Here's the thing, everyone is insecure about something. Yes, even the loudest, most self-assured people you know. But instead of dealing with those insecurities like adults, most people shove them down and project them onto others. They criticize you for starting a business because they're too scared to leave their 9 to 5. They judge your parenting because they feel like they're failing their own kids. They mock your style because they're terrified of standing out. And here you are, letting their unresolved issues dictate your confidence. Make it make sense. You need to stop being a sponge for other people's insecurities. Their opinions are not your truth. Just because someone else is too scared, too bitter, or too small-minded to chase their own dreams doesn't mean you have to play small. Their fears are not your reality. You don't have to shrink yourself to make them comfortable. You don't have to carry their baggage, and you sure as hell don't have to let their judgments define you. Let me ask you this. If someone handed you a pile of trash and told you to carry it around all day, would you do it? Of course not. Yet every time you internalize someone's criticism, you're doing the emotional equivalent of that. You're carrying their garbage. And for what? So they can feel a little better about their mediocre life while you feel worse about yours? Stop it. Drop the trash and move on. At the end of the day, you're the one who has to live with your choices, not them. You. So why would you let someone else's insecurities shape the life you're building for yourself? Why would you let their fears dictate your dreams? Their judgments mean nothing. They're noise, static, background chatter. The only voice that matters is your own. So the next time someone throws shade your way, ask yourself, is this about me or is this about them? 9 times out of 10, it's about them. Recognize that. Call it out for what it is, and then keep doing your thing. Because living authentically, chasing your goals, and staying true to yourself, that's the biggest middle finger you can give to anyone who's too scared to do the same. Stop letting other people's insecurities define you. You're better than that. Act like it. Chapter 3. Who are you trying to impress anyway? Let's cut the crap. Who are you really trying to impress? Be honest. Your boss, your parents, the cool kids on Instagram, random strangers who couldn't pick you out of a lineup. Do you even know? Or are you just on autopilot, desperately chasing approval like a dog chasing its own tail? Let me tell you something you clearly don't want to hear. Trying to impress everyone is a losing game. You will never win, ever. And the more you try, the more miserable you're going to be. Here's a cold hard fact. No matter what you do, someone will find a way to disapprove. You could literally save a baby from a burning building, and some idiot would complain that you didn't save the family dog too. You could hit every career milestone, dress to the nines, and say all the right things, and some troll would still whisper, "Who do they think they are?" And here you are, bending over backward, breaking yourself into a million little pieces, trying to impress people who wouldn't spit on you if you were on fire. What a joke. Let's talk about the kind of people you're killing yourself to impress. First, you've got the strangers. You know, the ones scrolling on their phones, judging you in a split second based on your outfit, your job title, or how many likes your post got. Why do you even care what they think? They don't know you. They don't care about you. And most of them are too busy obsessing over their own insecurities to actually pay attention to you. But sure, keep wasting your energy trying to win over people who wouldn't even notice if you disappeared tomorrow. Then there's the inner circle. The friends, family, and co-workers whose approval you crave like it's oxygen. Guess what? Half of them are too wrapped up in their own lives to notice your efforts, and the other half? They're judging you based on their own warped standards. That co-worker who looks down on your side hustle, they're bitter because they don't have the guts to pursue their own passions. That family member who questions your life choices, they're projecting their own fears and failures onto you. You're not going to win with these people because their opinions aren't rooted in logic or love. They're rooted in their own baggage. And let's not forget the biggest scam of all, social media. You're out here curating your life, filtering your photos, and posting your achievements, all in the hopes of getting that sweet, sweet validation from people who wouldn't recognize you in real life. Do you realize how pathetic that is? You're playing a rigged game, competing for attention in a world where everyone's faking it. You're not showing people your life, you're showing them a carefully edited highlight reel. And for what? A few likes and comments from people who will forget about you the second they scroll past your post? Congratulations, you've won absolutely nothing. Here's the truth you're avoiding. You can't please everyone. You never could, and you never will. The second you get someone's approval, someone else will find a reason to disapprove. It's a never-ending cycle, and the only thing it accomplishes is robbing you of your authenticity. Because let's be real, when you're constantly changing yourself to fit other people's expectations, you lose sight of who you actually are. And that's the ultimate tragedy. Think about it. How much of your personality, your goals, your entire identity is shaped by other people's opinions? Are you pursuing that career because it fulfills you or because it sounds impressive at dinner parties? Are you dressing the way you want or the way you think you're supposed to? Are you living your life or performing for an audience that doesn't even care? If you've got even a shred of self-awareness, the answer should piss you off. The irony is, the people you're trying so hard to impress don't even have their own lives together. They're winging it, just like you are. They're scared, insecure, and desperate for validation, but you don't see that because they've got a good poker face. So instead of realizing that everyone's just trying to survive, you pedestalize their opinions like they're gospel truth. Newsflash, they're not. And the sooner you stop chasing their approval, the freer you'll be. You want to know the secret to happiness? Stop giving a damn about what other people think. Live your life for you, not for them. Pursue what makes you happy, not what looks good on paper. Be who you are, not who you think the world wants you to be. Because here's the thing, the only person you need to impress is yourself. If you're proud of who you are and what you're doing, nothing else matters. So, who are you trying to impress? No one worth your time. Quit the game, reclaim your authenticity, and start living for yourself. The people who matter will love you for who you are, and the rest, they're irrelevant. Stop wasting your energy on them. Chapter 4. What would happen if you stopped giving a shit about judgment? No one is thinking about you as much as you think they are. That's right. Your precious little spotlight, it doesn't exist. Nobody's holding a magnifying glass to your every move because they're too busy drowning in their own insecurities. You think the world is out here dissecting your every word, outfit, and mistake. But guess what? Nobody cares. Seriously, nobody cares. That cringe moment that's been living rent-free in your head for the past week, the thing you've replayed so many times you've memorized every humiliating detail, you might as well let it go because no one else remembers it. Why? Because they're too busy obsessing over their cringe moments. You're out here thinking everyone's judging you when, in reality, they're just as self-absorbed as you are. And that's the irony, isn't it? You're terrified of judgment from people who are just as terrified of judgment themselves. It's a cycle of insecurity, and you're the one keeping it alive. Let's talk about the so-called spotlight effect, that delusion that everyone is laser focused on you. It's a lie your brain tells you because, deep down, you secretly want to be the center of attention. That's the dirty little secret, isn't it? You don't actually want people to ignore you. You want them to notice you, but only in ways that validate your fragile ego. You're not afraid of being seen. You're afraid of being seen in the wrong way. That's why you're so obsessed with what people think. It's not about avoiding judgment. It's about controlling the narrative. And spoiler alert, you can't. Let me break it down for you. Most people's judgments aren't even about you. They're about themselves. That person who judged your outfit, they're insecure about their own sense of style. The one who sneered at your career choice, they're stuck in a dead-end job they hate. The friend who made a passive-aggressive comment about your relationship, they're probably lonely and bitter. People don't judge you because you're doing something wrong. They judge you because you remind them of their own shortcomings. So why are you bending over backward to appease these walking piles of insecurity? And don't give me that excuse about how you just want to make a good impression. Stop lying to yourself. You don't want to make a good impression. You want to be liked. You want everyone to love you and think you're perfect, and you're willing to sacrifice your authenticity to make it happen. But here's the kicker. The harder you try to please people, the more they'll see through your act. Nobody respects a people pleaser. They respect authenticity, even if it's messy and imperfect. So while you're busy molding yourself into what you think people want, the real you is withering away. Now let's imagine, just for a second, what would happen if you stopped giving a shit about judgment? No, really, what if you just stopped? What if you lived your life without constantly looking over your shoulder, wondering who's watching and what they're thinking? I'll tell you what would happen. You'd be free. Free to do what you want, wear what you like, and say what you mean without the weight of other people's opinions dragging you down. You know what's funny? When you stop caring, people actually respect you more. Why? Because confidence is magnetic. When you're unapologetically yourself, it sends a message that you don't need anyone's approval. And that scares the hell out of people. It makes them question their own choices, their own need for validation, and their own insecurities. And that's not your problem. Here's the bottom line. You're not the main character in everyone else's story. They're too busy worrying about themselves to care about you. And even if they do judge you, so what? Their opinions don't pay your bills, build your dreams, or bring you happiness. So why the hell are you giving them so much power? The only person who has to live with your choices is you. So make choices that make you happy, not the imaginary audience in your head. Stop wasting your time trying to control how people perceive you. Stop living like the world revolves around their approval. And for the love of all that is holy, stop letting their insecurities define your life. The moment you stop giving a shit about judgment is the moment you truly start living. And isn't that what you really want? Chapter 5. How can you finally break free from this toxic cycle? You've been stuck in a toxic cycle for far too long. You've been spinning your wheels, constantly running from rejection, constantly chasing approval, and all the while, you've been feeding yourself lies that have kept you trapped in a cage of your own making. You've been a slave to other people's opinions and your own insecurities, and now it's time to rip that cage apart and break free. The first step: stop running. Stop hiding from rejection. You're not gonna die because someone doesn't like you. Let me repeat that. You're not going to die. The world won't end. You won't spontaneously combust because someone gives you a dirty look or calls you out on your choices. That's your anxiety talking, not reality. You need to confront it head on. Exposure therapy. Put yourself in those situations where you think judgment is inevitable, and guess what? You'll survive. More than survive, you'll thrive. That's the magic of it. You make it through and realize it's nowhere near as terrifying as you thought. It's like learning how to ride a bike. Wobbly at first, but once you get the hang of it, you can't even remember what you were so afraid of. Next up, you need to take a hard look at your younger self. The one who started internalizing all this societal garbage. The one who started giving a damn about what every idiot on the street thought. That kid didn't need to be validated by anyone but themselves. That kid didn't need to live up to impossible expectations. You need to reconnect with that version of yourself, the one who was more interested in running wild than running scared. Tell them they were right. Tell them they don't need anyone's approval. Because newsflash, the world doesn't give a crap about your worth. You get to define your worth. Not your mom, not your boss, not the random stranger on the internet who has nothing better to do than make you feel small. And finally, let's talk about embracing cringe. Yes, I said it. Embrace it. That embarrassing thing you did last week? Good. That ridiculous dance move you busted out at that party? Even better. You know what's way worse than feeling embarrassed? Living your entire life as a puppet on a string, just trying to please everyone and never taking the risk of doing something that could make you come alive. That's pathetic. Stop curating yourself for approval and start curating yourself for your own damn happiness. Living authentically is going to feel so much better than playing a never-ending game of pretend for people who couldn't care less about you. You know why you're stuck in this toxic cycle? Because you've been listening to all the wrong voices, the ones that tell you to hold back, to hide, to play it safe. Screw that. You're not here to play it safe. You're here to live, to break out of the box, to make mistakes and laugh at them. Who cares if you fail? You're still learning. Who cares if people judge you? They're too busy judging themselves to think about you for more than a second. So stop letting their insecurity dictate how you live your life. The answer is simple. Embrace authenticity. Stop living for validation and start living for yourself. Your values, your desires, your passions, those are the things that matter. Not someone else's opinion, not some fleeting social approval. So here's the bottom line. Stop being a coward. Stop running away from rejection. Embrace it, face it, and let it make you stronger. Reconnect with that version of yourself who wasn't afraid to be bold, to be unapologetically them. Embrace the cringe, embrace the failure, and live your life like the badass you were always meant to be. Because once you do, the toxic cycle will break, and you'll realize you were never trapped to begin with. You were just afraid of living. Time to fix that. Alright, now that we've dug deep into the mess you've been carrying around, let's get real. You've spent way too much time living for other people, bending over backward to fit into boxes they've made for you. And for what? Validation that doesn't matter? Compliments that don't change your life? Let's be honest. When was the last time someone's opinion truly moved the needle for you? Exactly. So why are you still wasting your precious time letting their judgments control your life? Here's the truth. Every second you spend worrying about what someone else thinks, you're robbing yourself of the chance to actually live. You're not just postponing your dreams, you're suffocating them, slowly but surely. How long are you willing to keep living in this loop of insecurity and validation addiction before you break free? So I'm going to ask you one final question. What would your life look like if you stopped hiding from rejection and started taking real action based on your own desires, not someone else's? Would you finally take that leap, start that project, speak up for what you believe in? It's time to stop pretending someone else's opinions matter more than your own vision for your life. It's time to stop being your own worst enemy. This is your shot. Make it count. The world's not waiting for you to get it together. You are. Now what are you going to do with that? The choice is yours.